You've probably heard it all. Sugar feeds cancer. Dairy is dangerous. Meat will bring your cancer back. But what if most of that isn't true? After 15 years of cancer research and surviving it myself, I've learned that fear is the real enemy, not food. In this video, I'll reveal the 2 foods proven by science to increase cancer risk and how you can eat with freedom, not fear.
Part 1. The noise around cancer nutrition. You've probably seen it everywhere. Videos, posts, even friends sharing warnings like, sugar causes cancer, dairy feeds tumors, meat will bring your cancer back. If you're a survivor, you've likely felt that small stab of fear with every headline. After everything you've been through, the last thing you need is confusion about what's safe to eat. But beneath the noise, the science tells a calmer, clearer story. And that's what this video is about. Cutting through fear to find the truth. I'm Dr. Amy, a cancer researcher, a cancer survivor, and someone who spent 15 years studying how lifestyle and nutrition affect recovery. Over the years, I've worked with thousands of women who've not only beaten cancer, but learned to stay cancer-free. My goal isn't to terrify you into changing your diet. It's to empower you with facts. Because survivors deserve clarity, not chaos. When we look at the actual scientific evidence, not blog posts or social media scares, only 2 foods stand out as being consistently and clearly linked to increased cancer risk: processed meats and alcohol. That might surprise you. Many people assume the biggest culprits are sugar, or dairy, or even everyday red meat. But what large-scale epidemiological research spanning decades and hundreds of thousands of participants keeps confirming is that the danger lies mainly in foods that are chemically altered or fermented into alcohol. Now, this doesn't mean all other foods are automatically safe, or that nutrition doesn't matter. It means we have to separate fear from facts. The internet has built an industry out of alarmism, turning wellness into a battlefield of guilt and restriction. You deserve better than that. Think about it. When you were in treatment, you likely trusted a team of doctors, nurses, and dietitians who guided you with evidence. That same trust and evidence is what should guide your life after treatment. Every cell in your body depends on nourishment, balance, and renewal, not on deprivation or fear. This is where the shift begins. Instead of thinking, what should I cut out to survive? You start asking, what can I add to help myself thrive? That's the heart of true healing. And here's what we're going to uncover in this video: the real science behind those 2 foods, why processed meats and alcohol stand apart, how they affect your cells, and what small, realistic choices can make the biggest difference for your long-term health. Because healing doesn't come from extremes. It comes from understanding.
Part 2. Debunking the myths: sugar, soy, and meat. Let's start by addressing some of the biggest myths surrounding cancer nutrition. These misconceptions have caused a lot of unnecessary stress for survivors. But the truth is, the science doesn't back up the fear. Let's clear up the confusion, one myth at a time. First up, sugar. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Sugar feeds cancer. And yes, it's true that cancer cells thrive on glucose, just like every other cell in your body. But here's the thing. All cells need glucose to function. It's the primary fuel for your body, whether you're a cancer survivor or not. The problem isn't the sugar in your diet, it's the way your blood sugar behaves. Cutting out all sugar from your diet might seem like a protective strategy, but it's not going to starve cancer cells. In fact, your body will simply find another energy source to keep cancer cells growing. What matters far more is your overall diet and how well you're balancing your blood sugar levels. Whole fruits which contain natural sugars are not the enemy. So enjoy that apple and remember that moderation is key. But here's where the real problem lies: processed sugar, the kind found in soda, candy, and baked goods. When you eat foods that spike your blood sugar quickly, you put stress on your body, which can indirectly create an environment that supports cancer growth. This is where the fear around sugar comes from, but it's not about eliminating it entirely. It's about balance. Next, let's talk about soy, a food that causes a lot of anxiety, especially among breast cancer survivors. The myth goes like this: soy contains estrogen-like compounds that could trigger cancer recurrence. It's a scary thought, especially when so much of your treatment is focused on managing hormone levels. But the truth is, soy contains phytoestrogens, plant-based compounds that are similar to estrogen, but aren't exactly the same. These phytoestrogens don't boost estrogen levels in your body the way synthetic estrogens do. In fact, research has consistently shown that phytoestrogens from soy can actually lower the risk of breast cancer recurrence. Even for women with hormone-positive breast cancer, soy isn't the threat it's often made out to be. In fact, recent studies have demonstrated that consuming soy can protect your body, not harm it. Yet, this fear of soy has been lingering far too long. It's outdated, and it's time to let it go. Soy, when consumed as part of a healthy, balanced diet, is not only safe, but can be beneficial to your recovery and long-term health. Finally, let's address the controversy around meat, specifically the concern about eating red meat. Now, let me make something very clear. There's a difference between red meat and processed meats. Red meat, when consumed in moderation and prepared properly, think grilling, baking, or broiling, is not linked to cancer in the same way that processed meats are. The key here is preparation. When you grill or sear meat at high temperatures, you create compounds that may increase your cancer risk. But this doesn't mean you should avoid meat altogether. The trick is to enjoy it in moderation and to focus on how it's cooked. For example, try to avoid charring or overcooking your meat. Instead, focus on methods like roasting or steaming, which are much gentler on both your health and the meat. And just like with sugar, the frequency of consumption matters. Eating red meat every day, especially if it's processed, isn't healthy. But having it a few times a week as part of a well-rounded, nutrient-dense diet isn't going to dramatically increase your cancer risk. The real danger lies in processed meats like bacon, sausage, hot dogs, and deli meats. So, the takeaway here? Moderation is key. And understanding the difference between myths and science can empower you to make the best decisions for your health. Part 3. Processed meats, the hidden cellular damage. Now let's talk about the first of the two foods that the evidence is loud and clear about: processed meats. When we say processed, we're not talking about a simple steak or a piece of roasted chicken. Processed meats are those that have been altered through curing, smoking, salting, or adding preservatives to extend shelf life and intensify flavor. Think of deli meats, bacon, sausage, ham, hot dogs, pepperoni, and jerky. Here's what science tells us: even small, consistent amounts of these foods can raise your cancer risk. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classifies processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, the same category as tobacco and asbestos. That doesn't mean a slice of bacon equals a cigarette, but it does mean the link is scientifically proven. Just 50 grams of processed meat a day, about 2 slices of bacon or a single deli sandwich, can increase your risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. That's not alarmism. That's data drawn from decades of population studies across continents. So, what exactly makes processed meats so risky? The problem lies in nitrates and nitrites, preservatives used to prevent bacterial growth and give meats their pink hue. Once inside your body, These compounds can transform into nitrosamines, molecules known to damage DNA and promote the formation of cancerous cells. Even when a product is labeled nitrate-free, it often uses natural substitutes like celery powder, which the body can convert into the same harmful compounds. So while these healthier versions might seem safer, your cells can't tell the difference. But it's not just about the chemicals. The processing itself, the curing, smoking, and high heat treatment, creates heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PHAs, which both have been shown to cause DNA mutations in lab studies. When repeated over time, that DNA damage can accumulate and increase your risk for cancers, especially of the colon, stomach, and breast. Now, this doesn't mean you must swear off all cured meats forever. The goal isn't fear, it's strategy. Let me tell you about one of my clients, Sarah, a mother of 2 who survived breast cancer. After recovery, she became terrified of food. She cut out everything, even red meat, even eggs, until social events became stressful. She'd show up to a barbecue and eat nothing, paralyzed by fear of hidden carcinogens. When we started working together, I helped her shift from fear-based eating to mindful eating. We built a plan that allowed for flexibility without guilt. Today, she enjoys brunch with her family, and if there's bacon once every few months, she savors it and moves on. That's not recklessness, that's freedom. This is the key message. It's not what you eat once in a while that shapes your health, it's what you eat most of the time. If processed meats are part of your everyday habit, your risk accumulates. But if they're an occasional indulgence, surrounded by a diet rich in plants, fiber, and antioxidants, your body has the resilience to repair itself. The Harvard School of Public Health echoes this guidance. Replacing processed meats with fish, legumes, or unprocessed poultry can dramatically lower long-term cancer risk and improve overall health markers like inflammation and gut microbiome balance. So avoid keeping processed meats as default foods in your fridge. Make them a rare guest, not a daily staple. Because when it comes to cancer prevention, small choices compound, both ways. In the next part, we'll look at the second major culprit, a substance that's socially accepted, even celebrated, yet biochemically toxic to your cells.
Part 4. Alcohol, the legal carcinogen we ignore. The second major culprit is something far more socially accepted, something that often hides behind celebration, relaxation, and culture: alcohol. Let's strip away the glamour for a moment and look at it for what it truly is. Alcohol isn't just a harmless indulgence. It's a Group 1 carcinogen, the highest risk classification by the World Health Organization. That means the scientific link between alcohol and cancer is just as strong as it is for tobacco or asbestos. Surprising? Most people never hear it phrased that way. Alcohol doesn't just affect the liver. Research consistently shows that it increases the risk of at least 7 different types of cancer, including breast, liver, colorectal, mouth, throat, and esophageal cancers. And the risk doesn't come only from heavy drinking. Even small, moderate amounts, like a glass of wine with dinner, still have measurable effects. 1 drink a day raises your overall cancer risk by roughly 9%. Having 3 drinks spread out across the week, about 1 every other day, increases it by 4%. It doesn't sound like much until you multiply that risk over years and decades. Now, you've probably heard someone say, but red wine is good for the heart. That belief comes from early studies suggesting that antioxidants like resveratrol could be protective. But newer research paints a more complex picture. Yes, resveratrol has benefits, but not enough to outweigh the risks of alcohol itself. Those same antioxidants exist abundantly in grapes, blueberries, and even peanuts, without the toxic baggage. And this is where we often get stuck.
We cling to the stories that comfort us, like the grandmother who drank wine every night and lived to 103. But anecdotes aren't evidence. For every one of those stories, there are thousands of cases hidden in hospital data showing the silent accumulation of alcohol-related damage, inflammation, DNA mutations, and hormonal changes that prime the body for cancer. Even the alcohol we drink today isn't the same as what past generations consumed. Industrial farming, chemical additives, and higher ethanol concentrations make modern beverages far more potent than the rustic wines of decades ago. What might have been a mild indulgence for your grandmother is a concentrated toxin in today's glass. Still, the solution isn't guilt, it's awareness. If alcohol has become a nightly ritual, ask why. For many, it's not about taste, it's about escape. A glass to unwind after work, a drink to soften anxiety or loneliness. The science of habit shows that alcohol often replaces healthier coping mechanisms, providing quick relief at a long-term cost. Replacing that ritual can be transformative. Some of my clients find comfort in herbal teas, mocktails with citrus and ginger, or simple mindfulness practices that calm the same neural pathways alcohol numbs. Others replace the ritual with movement, an evening walk, a few minutes of stretching, or journaling gratitude before bed. Over time, those small swaps add up to something profound, the return of true calm, not chemical calm. Because the real risk isn't the glass you raise tonight, it's the pattern you build over years. When alcohol becomes routine, your body never fully recovers. But when you treat it as an exception, not the rule, your cells regain their ability to heal. In the next part, we'll pull everything together, the science, the choices, the mindset, and explore how to live not in fear of cancer's return, but in freedom from it.
Part 5. Living Free. Strategy, not fear. After hearing all this, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The lists of risks, the studies, the warnings, it can all sound like a minefield. But that's not the goal here. The goal is freedom through knowledge. Cancer survivors often fall into two camps after recovery. One group clings tightly to rigid food rules, afraid that a single bite of the wrong thing could undo all their progress. The other shrugs off the advice completely, believing that health is just luck. But true healing lies somewhere in between, where strategy replaces fear and balance replaces extremes. Let's put the facts into perspective. Out of the countless foods and drinks in our diet, only 2, processed meats and alcohol, have been clearly and consistently linked to cancer risk. Everything else, soy, dairy, gluten, even unprocessed red meat, does not have solid scientific evidence connecting it to cancer. That doesn't mean you should eat whatever you want, but it does mean you can stop living in fear of every food headline that crosses your feed. Instead of focusing on what to cut out, think about what to build in. A plate filled with whole foods, vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, whole grains, and clean protein isn't just healthy eating, it's cellular defense. Every bite rich in fiber and antioxidants helps your body lower inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, and repair DNA damage. And if you're looking for proof that this approach works, look no further than the blue zones, regions around the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives. From Okinawa and Japan to Ikaria in Greece, their diets are overwhelmingly plant-based, their meat intake minimal, and alcohol limited to rare social occasions. But what really stands out isn't just their food, it's their attitude. They eat with joy, with company, with gratitude. Food isn't punishment, it's connection. That's what modern wellness often forgets. Health isn't just the absence of disease, it's the presence of vitality, purpose, and pleasure. The more you focus on living intentionally, moving your body, sleeping deeply, managing stress, staying curious, the less power fear holds over you. So if you take one lesson from this journey, let it be this. Don't eat out of fear, eat out of love.
Love for your body, for your recovery, for the life that's waiting beyond the hospital walls. You can absolutely live a joyful, delicious, vibrant life while protecting yourself from cancer. Avoid processed meats as your daily staple. Treat alcohol like a guest who visits rarely, not one who lives in your home. And then fill your days with foods and moments that make you feel alive. When survivors ask me where to begin, I tell them this: start with awareness, not perfection. Awareness is what allows you to make informed, compassionate choices. It's what gives you back control. Because healing doesn't end when treatment does. It continues every day you wake up and choose to nourish yourself with purpose. If you're ready to see how this looks in practice, I'll show you exactly what I eat in a day as an 8-year cancer survivor. Click the link here, and I'll see you in the next video.
Healing isn't just about what you remove. It's about what you choose to add back into your life. Knowledge, joy, balance, and hope. You deserve to live free from fear and full of vitality. If this video helped you understand your body a little better, give it a like. It tells YouTube that truth still matters. Subscribe for more science-based wellness videos each week. And don't forget to watch What I Eat in a Day as an 8-year cancer survivor, because your healing story is still being written, one mindful choice at a time.